All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Look, we all know artificial intelligence is driving this massive, seismic shift right now. Honestly, it's the biggest thing since the internet. We're talking about the next foundational computing platform. So at this point, the question isn't whether AI is going to affect your career. I mean, it already has, right? The real question, and exactly what we're tackling today, is how you position yourself to actually win here. We're going to break down exactly how you can stop just consuming AI and start acting as a truly empowered professional as we head into 2026. Let's map out our playbook for today. We've got 6 parts. First, the AI revolution. Then, the builder track for careers, followed by the creator track for content. After that, we'll talk about building your portfolio, laying out the execution plan, and we'll wrap it all up with some final takeaways. All right, let's kick things off with part 1, the AI revolution. So is AI going to replace your career or amplify it? This is literally the fundamental question on everybody's mind right now, isn't it? There's just so much anxiety out there. On one hand, people are terrified their specific jobs are going to get outsourced to an algorithm. On the other hand, there's this feeling of total content saturation. Like every single minute, millions of ChatGPT-generated posts are flooding platforms like LinkedIn. It's totally overwhelming and it's super easy to feel paralyzed. But let's take a step back and look at what is actually happening behind the scenes. Because right now, there is a massive, and I mean massive disconnect between the hype and the reality. The hype wants you to believe AI is just some magic button for overnight wealth, or maybe a boogeyman coming for all our jobs. But the grounded reality, the reality coming from people actually hiring and building in this space, it's completely different. To succeed in 2026, you absolutely need human strategy. It's about orchestrating systems, validating real demand, and building tangible skills. AI doesn't just do all the work for you. It accelerates the work you direct it to do. Which brings us to part 2, the builder, specifically focusing on your career track. Okay, the most crucial point here is that there isn't just one AI job. That's a huge misconception. We aren't just talking about PhDs in machine learning anymore. Look at this breakdown. There are dozens of specialized roles now that barely even existed a couple of years ago. Whether you're an AI security specialist locking down sensitive data or a prompt engineer who is literally programming just through conversation, the whole ecosystem has just exploded. AI is carving out a completely new layer of work across pretty much every single industry. But to actually land these roles, you need a very specific mix of skills. Companies aren't looking to hire someone who just knows how to type into a chatbot. They want people who can solve real business problems. So yes, for sure, you need the technical chops, stuff like Python, understanding large language models, and vector databases. But notice those other 2 pillars, business skills like project management, and human skills, things like adaptability, critical thinking, and just pure curiosity. Honestly, those human traits are exactly what differentiate the top-tier candidates from everyone else. And when we map out the modern AI tech stack, you can clearly see exactly where these different roles fit and where you might want to specialize. The best part? You don't have to learn everything. If you're super into design, you could focus on the application layer, creating intuitive UIs for these tools. If you're a back-end dev, you're living in routing and APIs. Or, hey, you can go super deep right into the AI engine layer itself. Seeing the whole technology stack broken down like this just makes it feel so much more approachable, doesn't it? All right, let's pivot over to part 3, the creator, focusing on content. Let's walk through the first half of the modern AI content workflow. Now, notice how step 1 starts with a deeply human element, identifying your audience's actual pain points. Only after that do you bring AI into the mix. You use it as your ultimate research assistant to summarize trends and build out your outlines. Then you collaborate with it on the script, bouncing ideas around for hooks or clever analogies. This really proves that while AI totally accelerates your research and drafting, it absolutely cannot replace human storytelling and fact-checking. Following right up on that, the workflow wraps up with production, SEO, and analytics. You can totally use AI to help out with editing, pulling B-roll, or generating auto captions. You can even lean on it to perfectly dial in your titles, metadata, and keywords. But that final step, that is absolutely crucial. You have to analyze your performance and iterate. Doing this is what allows you to build a reliable, repeatable system rather than just crossing your fingers and endlessly chasing some random one-off viral hit. And to make sure that content actually lands, you really have to optimize for each platform's unique algorithm. You can't just copy and paste one generic AI output everywhere. It doesn't work. On YouTube, you've got to prompt your AI to optimize for search, click-through rate, and retention.
Over on TikTok, well, that's all about super short, punchy hooks and getting that completion rate up. And on LinkedIn, you're leveraging AI to build professional authority and spark genuine conversations. You literally have to tune your strategy for where you are posting.
Moving right along to part 4, building your portfolio. Look, whether you're trying to land an AI infrastructure job or building a personal brand to pull in clients, you have to prove you know your stuff with high-impact projects. Getting certified by major cloud providers is great for credibility for sure, but please do not just collect certificates like their participation trophies without actually building anything. A tangible portfolio is infinitely more persuasive. Show them a multi-agent workflow where bots actually talk to other bots to solve complex tasks. Show off a custom customer support chatbot you built. Actually show your code, explain your architecture, and highlight the real business outcomes. Okay, let's get into part 5, the execution plan. Check out this 12-month career roadmap. It perfectly paces out the journey. Take a breath. You do not need to be an expert on day one. You spend the first couple of months just learning the absolute basics of Python and figuring out how LLMs actually work. From there, you move into building small apps and learning cloud AI. Then, months 7 through 10, you're crafting that killer portfolio and maybe even contributing to open source projects. By the time you hit months 11 and 12, you are confidently applying for jobs or taking on freelance gigs. The big takeaway here, consistency over a year is way more important than trying to just speed run the whole thing. Now, on the flip side, if your focus is building an audience and a content engine, this 90-day social media plan forces you to be super strategic. Notice you aren't just blasting out 100 AI-generated posts on week 1. Nope. First, you define your niche. Then you commit to publishing consistently. By month 2, you pick just one metric to improve, like say your thumbnails or your hooks. By month 3, you dive into your analytics and just double down on whatever is hitting. Ultimately, it's a continuous, rolling loop of learning and iterating. And that brings us to our final section, part 6, final takeaways. I want to leave you with this incredibly powerful thought from the explainer today. The professionals who thrive won't be the ones who use the most AI. They'll be the ones who combine AI with original ideas, credibility, and consistent execution. I mean, that hits the nail on the head, right? AI does the heavy lifting, absolutely. But your authentic expertise, your human critical thinking, and your ability to solve actual problems, that is what secures your future. AI is just an amplifier. So the question I want to leave you with today is this. Are you going to let AI replace your voice, or are you going to step up and use it to powerfully amplify your unique expertise to the rest of the world? Thanks so much for exploring this with me today, and hey, happy building.